3/4 line, Dalton Grant, Ashley Gibson, Lee Smith and Ethan Ryan. The halves will be Rowan Milnes and Dane Chisholm. Rowan Milnes, 18 years of age, he will be making his first team debut this afternoon. And the front row forwards, Steve Crossley, George Flanagan, Callum Bustin, Matt Garside. And the back row forwards, James Laithwaite, Elliot Minchella at loose forward. And on the interchange bench, Ross Peltier, Mikey Wood, Sam Hallas and Vila Halafihi. And referee Steve Race will put whistle to lips. He's controlling his first Bradford Bulls fixture, his first visit to Odsal. And we're underway with Rowan Milnes on debut, taking the ball and immediately passing it there to Callum Bustin. Callum Bustin with 2 tries in 2018 on tackle number 1. Elliot Minchella on tackle number 2. Bradford 12 metres shy of the halfway line. They're going to move it with Dane Chisholm to Garside. Matt Garside fending off the Scholars defenders, and he will take Bradford just inside the Scholars half. Flanagan out of dummy half to Crossley, and Steve Crossley, who was rested last week, makes immediate gains as he gives the ball back to Flanagan, and Flanagan out of dummy half over on that right hand edge, and that'll be the 5th and last tackle. The Bulls, they've gone 86 metres on the start. Chisholm, crossfield kick, looking for Ethan Ryan. Ethan Ryan palms it back. It's picked up by Chisholm. It is still the last tackle. And Dane Chisholm into the in-goal area. Elliot Minchella was chasing on the inside. He just put a little bit too much on it there, John, and it will be dead in goal. It is Bulls Live. It is proper sport. It's the Scholars against the Bulls at Odsal, and it will be a tap on the 20 for the London Scholars, John.
Yeah, great start by Bradford. They marched straight back up the field. Some good carries from Bustin and Crossley. Garside again, unsung hero of this year's team so far. But it'll be interesting to see what Scholars do now with their first set here.
So London Scholars inside the Bradford half, 3 tackles gone. Lawrence Sykes watching, so too Richard Tempest Mitchell. And Ian Bullock says, great to see the cheerleaders make a tunnel for the players. So it's Bulls Live and proper sport. Lamont Bryan down the middle. 3 Bradford defenders bringing down the huge frame of the Jamaican international. He's turned on his back. He'll get to his feet. Billy Driver in at dummy half. The floor it to former Bradford player Amari Caro. Caro is going to try and take Ethan Ryan in goal, but the referee has got the call from the touch judge. It is a forward pass. It is the first error of the afternoon from the Scholars, and that will be scrum head and feed to the Bradford Bulls. 15 metres out from their own try line. So we'll just quickly go through the London Scholars side this afternoon. Elliot Hall at fullback, wing 3/4 line. Vinnie Finnegan, Matt Fleming, Amari Caro, Ryan Bruss, the halves, Neil Foreman, Phil Lyon, the front row forwards, Michael Sykes, Billy Driver, Lamont Bryan, who we've just mentioned, the back row forwards, Quinn Nakate, Jordan Williams and Ryan Chester, and on the interchange bench for Jermaine Coleman's side this afternoon, Rob Butler, Eddie Umbraga, Matty Davis and Sam Nash. It's worth pointing out that this London Scholars side does have a bit of a Broncos flavour to it, with Matt Fleming, Rob Butler and Matty Davis all on loan at the Scholars. And Bradford's second possession in this match. With 3.5 minutes gone, we'll see Dane Chisholm floating out to Laithwaite. Laithwaite's going to be brought down on the 5th and last tackle. 38 metres away from that Scholars try line. Dane Chisholm towards Hall. He's going to put Hall under pressure. Hall takes it on his own try line. And the black-shirted Scholars defender immediately looks at his radar and will be brought down by Minchella and Bustin on tackle number 1. Let us know in the comments wherever you're listening or watching this afternoon. Nigel Wormold says, watching from Tenerife. Steve Smith says, hi guys, great feed, come on you Bulls, show no mercy. And Brian Clarkson says, watching from Dunoon, Scotland. Incidentally, we'll keep you up to date with the latest scores. And Coventry and York has just kicked off, 0-0 there, but an interesting score from the south of France. It is currently the Catalan Dragons 18, Whitehaven 10. So League One flying the flag high, and that is Whitehaven. So Ethan Ryan on the return, on his 22nd birthday, up to the Bradford 40. and giving the forwards a bit of an early rest. It'll be Dalton Grant on tackle number 2. Dalton Grant already, very potent finisher. 8 tries for John Keir's side in 2018. Callum Bustin on the 3rd tackle, just shy of the Scholars 40. In centre field with Crossley to Chisholm to Pickersgill. Pickersgill out to Ryan. Ryan steps in, can't get past Caro, and the former Bradford favourite brings down his former teammate on the London 20. Pickersgill in at dummy half to Chisholm. Chisholm's going to give it to Minchella. Minchella wrapped up by Bryan. Last tackle for the Bulls. 12 metres out from that London line. It's going to go to Chisholm. It's going to go to Pickersgill. And Pickersgill's dropped the ball on the power play. Lydia Lee watching from Spain. Christine Waterworth watching from under the duvet. Sue Landell says, watching from Bournemouth, come on you Bulls. And John, as we saw last week against the Westwell Raiders, the Bulls starting a little bit shaky with ball on end, a couple of errors.
Yeah, both sides seem to be completed their sets. There's been a couple of errors, but nothing major. I just think there actually we went to the wrong side. I think we should have gone out to the right with Rowan. He had his hand up. Obviously saw someone that was on, but that will come during the game. Just hopefully he won't be too dominated by Dane on the other side, because I really like to see him get involved in the game. But yeah, it's a bit tit for tat at the moment, isn't it, Mick? And hopefully we'll get a bit more possession soon.
So Billy Driver out of dummy half to Lamont Bryan, the Jamaican international. And they're going to move the ball along this right-hand edge, and Lee Smith and Crossley wrap up Amari Caro. Amari Caro, incidentally, 31 tries from 40 appearances for the Bulls in his 3-year spell here. Crossfield kick from Neil Foreman. Foreman's crossfield kick taken by Fleming, but Fleming immediately wrapped up, and the London Broncos loanee is wrapped up 20 away from the Bradford line. So Bulls Live, proper sport. We've just had over 6 minutes gone on the clock here at Odsall, and it remains Bradford 0, London 0. So points are going to be at a little bit more of a premium this afternoon. And Callum Bustin goes down that middle channel, and he's wrapped up 10 shy of halfway. Crowd appealing for a penalty, non forthcoming, so it's going to be fast hands from Flanagan to Garside. Here goes Ethan Ryan, past Amari Caro, inside support from Brandon Pickersgill, and Pickersgill will open the scoring for the Bradford Bulls. An awe-inspiring try. He goes up to 3 tries for the season. We've had 7 minutes on the clock. It is Bulls 4, Scholars no score at Odsall. And take a bow, Ethan Ryan on his birthday, John. He created that one, and he took on both Amari Caro and Elliot Hall, the fullback.
Yeah, fantastic effort from Ethan. Thank God I think Picker's learned his lesson at Doncaster the week. He didn't dive for the line too early, did he? Which was good. Interesting though for me, 3 or 4 Bradford guys pushing on his inside shoulder. I don't think we saw that at all last year, did we? When confidence wasn't high and we were struggling a little bit. Says a lot about the mindset of the team and what they're trying to do today. A great effort, and yeah, we'll see now if Dane can carry on his kicking from last week.
Well, the try's been scored 10 metres in from this main stand side on the popular stand terracing. And with 7 minutes gone on Bulls Live and proper sport, it is the Bradford Bulls 4, the London Scholars no score, and Dane Chisholm will attempt the extra 2 points. Prolific with the boot last weekend, 20 from 21 attempts. He beat John Wood's scoring record, which was from 1985 when Bradford had that 62-14 victory against Swinton here at Odsall. And Dane Chisholm, this to add on the extra 2 with 8 minutes gone on the clock. Looks at the ball, looks at the post, strikes him, and that one has just gone to the left hand side, and we've put the mockers on him, John, but it does remain 4 points to 0 to the Bulls on Bulls Live and proper sport. And just give a big shout out to Max and Tom Parks, who are watching the game this afternoon in the old bank kitchen. So we've got a couple of chefs watching, John.
Yeah, we could have done someone there to cook that up for Dane. Interesting, I think that's commentator's curse, isn't it? We did it at Keith Lee to Joe Keys, and then we've just done it again today, and then now Bradford have knocked on from the kick-off.
Rowan Milnes getting the high fives on debut, just coming up with a little bit of an error there. So Bradford's first error of the match is going to put them under a little bit of pressure. 10 metres out from their own try line. Paul Bottomley says, come on you bulls, 80 bets. Lovely try, great coverage. And as we always say, if you enjoy the coverage and you're watching on Vision, on Proper Sport and Bulls Live and Facebook Live, share the coverage. Let's see if we can get some record viewers this afternoon. And they've just kicked off at Coventry, and York City Knights immediately, 3 minutes into the game, lead 6-0. So here at Odsall, London trailing 4-0 after that try from Pickersgill. Out of dummy half from Driver. Driver to Lyon. Lyon along the line to Foreman. Forward pass from Foreman to Queen Nakate, but the officials, the referee was about to blow whistle to lips, but he's allowing play on. The touch judge didn't give him the call. Binchella is going to wrap up the second row forward, Jordan Williams, and he's brought down 8 metres away from the Bradford line. It's going to go with Lamont Bryan. Lamont Bryan, the wrecking ball, still going towards the line. Wrapped up, a metre shy on the last tackle. The Scholars probing, hunting first points. Solid defence there from Matt Garside, who come in at the side, and he will wrap up Brian Chester, who tried to show and go for glory on the last tackle. Bulls Live, Proper Sport here at Odsall Stadium. Exactly 10 minutes gone in this Betfred League 1 encounter, the rearranged round 2 fixture, and it is the Bulls 4, Scholars no score, as Lee Smith makes valuable metres out of dummy half, and so too does George Flanagan. The referee not playing the advantage, and that will infuriate the big Odsall crowd. George Flanagan was away and potentially underneath the sticks there, John.
It was. I suppose some of the fans might be happy, because if it had got there, we don't know what he'd have done before he put the ball down with George, do we? But yeah, strange decision that really from the referee. I don't know why we just haven't played on. But Bradford now going to start again 40 metres out after the kick from the penalty.
So then, Ashley Gibson will tap it over on the far stand side. That is tackle number 1. It's going to go now with Callum Bustin. Callum Bustin's going to go down the middle, and he's brought down 15 metres away from the line. It's going to go with Milnes. Milnes on debut to Chisholm. Chisholm along the line to Garside. Garside, the former Sheffield and London man, brought down by Williams and Driver in a 2-man tackle for the Scholars. Flanagan quick out of dummy half. It's going to go to Minchella, to Milnes. Milnes down the middle. Finds Bustin. And the Castleford Tigers Loney will be tipped in the tackle, but not above the horizontal. 4th tackle gone here for the Bulls. Flanagan to Crossley. Steve Crossley over the line. Held up. The posts are shaking. Crossley's gone straight in to the post there. And the Bulls will go back towards the 10, and it will be the last tackle. So 5th and last. Chisholm, crossfield kick, looking for Ethan Ryan on his birthday. But Vinnie Finnegan, a former academy teammate of Ethan Ryan, he will tap the ball on the 20, because he's taken that one dead in goal. So, Bulls 4, Scholars 0. Bulls Live, Proper Sport, going out on Facebook Live for your viewing pleasure once again. And Bradford defending on the halfway line. The Scholars 10 shy, centre of the field. Out of dummy half from Matt Fleming. Fleming brought down there by Flanagan and Bustin in a 2-man tackle. It's going to go from Driver, and Driver's going to give it out over on that left-hand edge, and that will see Quinn Nakate brought down just inside the Bradford 40, so 10 metres in field. Good quick hands to Foreman, to Lyon. Lyon offloads the ball. Here goes Amaricaro. Amaricaro's brought down 10 metres out from the Bradford line by Ethan Ryan. That's the 4th tackle gone for the Scholars. It's going to be Hauling at dummy half. It's going to go to Foreman in centre field. Foreman down the middle. The Scholars keeping the ball alive. And another forward pass picked up by the officials. And that will be London's 3rd error of this match, and the chance has gone begging, John. And I tell you something, you called it. I think we both called it. Anyone expected a similar result to what we saw last Sunday gone against the West Wales Raiders? I think they're in for a rude awakening. Bulls 4, Scholars 0, 12 minutes gone, and the Bulls are going to be made to work hard for the points this afternoon, John.
I think they are. I think the first half's going to be a competition. I'd always like to think that with the fitness regime we've got here at Bradford, that in the second half we should run over these teams. Interesting for me, if you watch the Scholars, a lot of their stuff's going through Neil Thorman. I know that family really well. Phyllis and Ken, all their three lads have been half-backs, and obviously Chris played international rugby league, you know, who's now working at Huddersfield. But interesting, if you watch what they're doing, everything's going through Neil, so Bradford need to be looking at that and try and close him down a little bit.
Matt Fleming has gone high on George Flanagan. That has got the crowd animated, and it will be a third penalty of the afternoon to the Bradford Bulls. So they lead the penalty count 3-0 early in the game, and Dane Chisholm will take the Bulls up and over halfway. As we said, Amari Caro certainly one to watch, the Hammersmith-born Jamaican international, and he has already scored 6 tries for the Scholars in 2018. He is their top try scorer. Bradford with Crossley to Milnes, Milnes to Bustin, and Bustin's going to be brought down just shy of the London Scholars 10-metre line. The sun just peeping behind the clouds here at Odsal Stadium. It's going to be Flanagan, short pass to Minchella. Minchella already with 17 tries, and he's wrapped up 5 away from the prize. What's Flanagan going to do in at dummy half? He has Steve Crossley on short side, finds Milnes, Milnes on debut, Rowan Milnes to bring the house down, he's held up on the line, and he'll get the ball in on the last tackle. Chisholm, crossfield kick, a la Aussie rules, looking for Ethan Ryan, and Ethan Ryan, on his 22nd birthday, has got a birthday present from Dane Chisholm, and it's a second try for the Bradford Bulls. The Bulls lead 8 points to 0.
Yeah, fantastic. I think this season, we've really gotten off to a tee on both sides of the field. Ethan, of course, confidence riding high, scored a very similar try at Doncaster. But great for us to get our second score. I think it was needed because Scholars have had a bit of pressure in the last couple of minutes.
Ethan Ryan there, eyes on the prize as Dane Chisholm, crossfield kick, taken there superbly, jumping higher than Vinnie Finnegan, and he's touched down 8 metres in from this main stand side here at Odsal Stadium. So Ethan Ryan on his birthday, 9 tries already in 2018, and Ethan Ryan showing the fruits of what the academy system can do.
Yeah, absolutely, and how many of them are out there, it's fantastic. And as we said earlier on about developing teams down in London, you know, we've got to do more of this stuff, and having lads like Ethan come through and end up playing for the first team, it's really important. Dane sliced another one this time off to the other side of the post. A bit disappointing, but Joseph Keys must be rubbing his hands together sat in the stand.
Dane Chisholm holds his right arm up in the air, apologises to the crowd. So that try from Pickersgill with 7 minutes gone, that has been further extended in the 16th minute by Ethan Ryan. Chisholm not found his radar yet this afternoon, but the Bulls 8 points to 0 to the good here at Odsal in this rearranged round 2 fixture between the Bradford Bulls and the London Scholars. It's now Caroline Dragons 24, Whitehaven 10 at the Stade Gilbert Brutus. And it's Coventry 0, York City Knights 18. So James Ford said in his pre-match notes that a big win for the Knights would see them go back above the Bulls if the Bulls don't win handsomely here this afternoon against the London Scholars. London, to the credit, they're making the Bulls work hard for every point as it goes out of dummy half from Flanagan a Garside. And on tackle number 4 on the restart, the Bulls are probing down this main stand side. It goes to Pickersgill back on the inside, finds the support of Matt Garside. Matt Garside like a dodger in a fairground to Ethan Ryan. Has he got the ball down? Oh my word! What a try there from Ethan Ryan. The man from the planet Krypton. Superman touches down. It is 12 points to 0, John Keys.
Yeah, great, another great finish from Ethan, particularly it being his birthday. He always seems to have that knack, doesn't he? When there's no room, he still manages to dive and get the ball down. So, yeah, great. And now, this is what I wanted to see really from Bradford. Like I said, Scholars had a couple of good sets. we've gone back up the field, got the points on the board. It's what we need to do. But again, processes, just keep sticking to processes. Don't ever forget that, because the individual stuff for us doesn't work. We're a fantastic squad, and the more we play together, the stronger we'll become.
Well, he's running out of occupations, Ethan Ryan. He's a trapeze artist, he's a superhero, and he's a rugby league player scoring super quality tries like that in the corner.
And I can even tell you that he's a good cook as well. So there's someone else he's good at that you didn't know about.
Oh well, the two chefs, Tom and Max, who were watching, perhaps, yeah, he might be doing them out of a job. Jade Chisholm then from this mid touchline is off point again. 0 from 3 attempts. Some humourful jeers and boos from the Odsal faithful below our commentary position here, but on Bulls Live and Proper Sport, it is the Bradford Bulls that lead London Scholars by 12 points to 0 with 19 minutes gone here at Odsal Stadium. So, it's currently Castleford 0, St Helens 12 for those asking. And Coventry, to the credit, have just hit back. So Coventry 6, York City Knights 18, down in Coventry at the Butts Arena Stadium. On the live feed, we've got Christopher Hepps saying, "Come on, London," and Michelle Gummersell says, "Great try, Ethan, happy birthday." Steve Haig says, "Watching from Chelmsford." And as we said, it is the Challenge Cup weekend, and there was some disappointed attendances last night, as Lee Smith has ball in hand, brought down there by Finnegan. And Lyon in a two-man tackle as Bradford advance over halfway. Flanagan out of dummy half is going to give it there to Garside. And Garside is wrapped up 30 metres away from the London Scholars try line, and once again on the fourth tackle. Chisholm kicks ahead, regathers. Is it back to one? He's looking at the referee. The referee is going to say last tackle. So the ball wasn't played at, says Steve Race. Flanagan to Garside to Mills. Mills, crossfield kick. He's just put a little bit too much on that one. And that will be taken dead in goal. And it will be a tap on the 20 for the London Scholars. So as we mentioned in the pre-match amble, in 2017, under the old system, the London Scholars lost quite a few players to injury at crucial times of the season, and they did have that heavy defeat down in London at home to Toronto and Newcastle, and that really meant that the Scholars were really unable to emulate the previous year's achievement of that top 8 finish back in 2016. But I think in 2018, with additions of Amari Caro, Vinnie Finnegan, Elliot Hall, Neil Foreman, they've really got the makings of a strong, consistent League One side that could potentially break into the top 5 come season's end. And here they are on this main stand side, looking a little bit adventurous, but the pass there from the fullback, Elliot Hall, has just been knocked on by Amari Caro, and the referee will say that is the Scholars' 5th error of the match, and it will be scrum, head and feet to the Bradford Bulls. The referee's just going to stop the clock because Lamont Bryan is down in centre field, just suffering from a little bit of cramp, we feel. But we've just gone over the 20-minute mark here at John, and so far so good for the Bradford Bulls. They lead by 12 points to 0. A brace of tries on his birthday for Ethan Ryan, and the fullback Brandon Pickersgill getting in on the act. 12-0.
Yeah, I think it's a shame we haven't converted, because at 12-0 we've got 3 scores. This Scholars team look like they could score to me. I'm not just saying, you know, they've had some decent field position, they're breaking away a little bit. It's about Bradford. I think if they close the game out early, but for me, it could be 18-0, which is a different thing than for the opposition to be looking at as well. So I'd like to think that we'll get a few more scores before half time and hopefully close the game out. Just on Callum Buston coming off the field, immense player Callum for Bradford this year, and interesting when you watch him going into collision, he has a very late step which gives him a little bit of an advantage and a bit more go forward. It's quite a little trait that he's got, but it's working very well for him.
Liam Johnson, the 18th man this afternoon, bringing on the water for the players as Peltier interchanges with Bustin, and Peltier Another one of the Jamaican international forwards out there on the field will be brought down, and it once again will go Flanagan to Crossley. Last tackle, the Bulls, 20 away, and it's going to be Ethan Ryan looking to take the ball from Dave Chisholm, but Finnegan's took it, and the Bradford-born wingman, now prying his trade at the Scholars, is going to be brought down on his own 20-metre line. So, the London Scholars, 15 shy of halfway. Out of dummy half from Driver. Driver to Williams, and Jordan Williams is brought down in a three-man tackle, led there by Smith and Flanagan. Driver to Butler, and Butler, who's just come on wearing 16, another one of these Broncos loanees out there for the Scholars. Driver to Foreman. Foreman's pass to Nakwati, and Nakwati's wrapped up on the last tackle for the Scholars there. 8 metres inside the Bulls' half. It's going to go back to Foreman. Foreman, crossfield kick, swirling. Taken there superbly by Ethan Ryan. Ethan Ryan to Pickersgill. Tackle number 1 for the Bulls, just shy of their own 30. And it's going to go Lee Smith to Dalton Grant, the Welsh international. 8 tries to his name, and he's wrapped up 10 shy of halfway on tackle number 2. Lee Smith in at dummy half, and he'll just calm things down. An old, experienced head there. 31 years of age, Lee Smith, former Wakefield, Wasps, Newcastle. Played in both codes. As Flanagan gives it to Peltier. Peltier brings the go forward, tucks the ball in his right arm. That's got the crowd excited. Flanagan to Mills. Mills inside Paul to Crossley. And Bradford on the last tackle, 25 metres away from the Scholars line. Flanagan looks to Mills. Mills, high, hanging kick, looking for Dalton Grant and Ashley Gibson. And Dalton Grant is going to score the easiest try of his career. And what a kick from young Rowan Mills on debut. His kick called Pandemonium for both Matt Fleming and Ryan Bruffs over on that right-hand edge. And Dalton Grant has Bradford's 4th try, and it is 16 points to 0.
Yeah, great kick there from Rowan, a good confidence builder for him as well on his debut.
It's a try for the Bradford.
I did say it about Dalton, didn't I, when he arrived from London. Might be the easiest try he's had, but
Dalton
3 or 4 carries before he's coming out of, in the middle of an exit set, making ground. And for me, he's one of the good signings and another unsung hero for me this year, Dalton Grant. Having a real good season for us. But again, John knows him from Wales and knows talent when he sees it.
So 16 points to 0 here at Odsal Stadium. Betfred League 1 round 2. We're in the 26th minute here at Odsal. And they're not making life easy for Dane Chisholm this afternoon. He's had 3 over on this left-hand edge. And this one right on that far stand touchline. Elsewhere, half-time scores, Castleford 0, St Helens 12, and it is the Caroline Dragons 24, Whitehaven 10. Elsewhere in Betfred League 1, it is Coventry 6, York City Knights 18, and it is Rochdale Hornets 4, Batley Bulldogs 6. At Scotland, Dane Chisholm from the far stand touchline. He's found his radar at the 4th attempt, and on Bulls Live and Proper Sport here at Odsal Stadium. It is now the Bradford Bulls 18, London Scholars 0, 27 minutes gone on the clock. Chisholm 1 from 4 attempts. So, John, perhaps a fairer reflection of where the score and where the game's been going, but there's been a lot of heart and a lot of effort from the Scholars this afternoon.
Yeah, there has. I don't think it's over yet either. Interesting, watch this lad 15, Matty Davis, that's just come on. He's from the Broncos. Last year played in the academy, a real good young lad. And I think they're offering a bit more, as we said pre-match. There's a bit more in this, isn't there, than there was last week. I think the collisions are a bit more meaningful, and I think Bradford have struggled to gather their momentum because London are having a dig here.
So Bradford Bulls on the restart. If you're just joining us, it is Bulls Live and Proper Sport at Odsal Stadium as Flanagan scoops in at dummy half, finds Chisholm. Daniel Harrison says, come on you Bulls. And Steve Proud says, great kick from Chizzy. He's found his kicking form as Steve Crossley, the Bradford-born prop, to Flanagan, to Minchella. First knock on against the Bulls, I think Steve Race will say. Or will he give head and feet to Bradford here? He's going to say London ball. And that is Bradford's third error of the afternoon. And we can also go on the flip of the coin, John, with 11 minutes to go to half time, 29 played. That obviously Bradford, they had that big win last weekend. It would have taken a lot of energy out of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's interesting this, isn't it? And this is still a real contest for me. What are we at, 18-0? 4 tries, you know. I just think that London, I think they've got started, but I don't think they've really got going yet. Same with Bradford, though, you know, little handling over there. But Mick, I think we probably say this too often, but go back to last year and we'd have already been at 13 errors, not 3.
Lamont Bryan, workhouse prop, wins London's first penalty in the afternoon. So 3 won the penalty count, just 4 penalties in the opening half an hour here at Odsal Stadium. I watched the NRL this morning between Brisbane and Manly, and there were 7 penalties in the opening 9 minutes. So we're about to see Vila Halafihi, Mikey Wood and Sam Hallis enter the stadium. So that'll be a 3-man interchange brought on by John Keir. Ian Bullock says Bulls must have 4 of the best props in League One. And Christopher Hesp says, come on London, let's do this. So London, 20 away from the Bradford line, left of centre field. Out of dummy half, it's going to go to Foreman. Foreman to the fullback Hall. Hall has options, but he's wrapped up there by Garside and Smith. 15 in from this main stand side. In at dummy half, it's going to go from Matty Davis. Davis to Lyon, to Lyon, sorry, and Lyon's going to give it there to Butler. And Butler's wrapped up on tackle number 4. 15 away in front of the post. They're moving the ball on that left-hand edge. Good, quick, fast hands. And Ryan Bruffs on loan from the Toronto Wolfpack will touch down in at the corner, John. And it's game back on at Odsal Stadium. Bradford Bulls, 18. London Scholars, 4.
Yeah, I think it was Neil Thorman again, you know. A 10-metre bullet pass and he made the space out on the left-hand side there. I think Bradford are caught sleeping a bit there, you know. Like I said, I don't think we should underestimate this team. I don't think John will have either. But, you know, they've had some good field position and they've got their just reward for it.
So, plenty of life from the London Scholars. Robert Flack, Christopher Hesp and John Lawler. London all playing well. And that has narrowed the gap. So, for all their efforts, the Scholars deservedly in the hunt, back in the game, 18 points to 4. So the kick from the far stand touchline, that one will just fade away in front of the post. And Neil Foreman's conversion attempt is waved away. So all the tries this afternoon being scored in difficult positions for the goal kickers. But credit to the London Scholars. 32nd minute here at Odsal on Bulls Live and Proper Sport. It is the Bradford Bulls 18, the London Scholars 4. And Jason Robinson says, I'm watching from Marmaris in Turkey. Come on, you Bulls.
Be interesting now to see what Vila does here now when he's on this, and the Scholars are a bit tired, because I rate Vila. I think him and George are really good at 9, but V's vision when these teams are tired is particularly good, so let's see what we make of that.
London lost the ball backwards towards their own line on the restart. 18 points to 4. They trail here at Odsal Stadium. Coventry have narrowed the gap between themselves and York. It is now Coventry Bears 12, York City Knights 18. So York City Knights finding life difficult away in Coventry. Lamont Bryan for the Scholars, brought down by his fellow Jamaican international Ross Peltier and Rowan Mills. Marshall in the Bulls' defence. As Mikey Wood and Sam Hallis get involved. Last tackle. Kick comes in from Foreman. Foreman straight down the throat of Ethan Ryan, and Ethan Ryan will meet the black-shirted Scholars defenders 30 out from his own try line on tackle number 1. Halafi in at dummy half to Dalton Grant. Dalton Grant along the line to Chisholm. Flat pass. Ignored by the officials. Chisholm back in centre field to Hallis. Bit of lateral movement there from the Bulls, looking to shift this Scholars defensive line, and Williams and Bryant are going to be penalised by referee Steve Race for laying on in the tackle there, as Sam Hallis wanted to get a quick play the ball in, and that's the 4th penalty the Bulls have been awarded in this first half. So Bulls Live, proper sport, 5.5 minutes to go to half-time here at Odsall, and it's the Bradford Bulls 18, the London Scholars 4. Pickersgill, Grant, and a brace of tries from Ryan. Those are the Bulls try scorers. For the Scholars, Ryan Bruffs. So they go down the middle, the Bulls, 20 metres out from the London line, attacking the ruler in terracing in the first half. Chisholm to Peltier, and Ross Peltier is going to score try number 4 of the season. It's a 5th try in the first half here at Odsall, and it's 22 points to 4. And just when you thought that the Scholars were getting back in the game and trying to get a stranglehold on it, the Bulls kill out the Scholars' momentum, and that was a superb try there from Ross Peltier. It went from Halafihi to Chisholm, and Chisholm's cut-out pass taken in there by Ross Peltier.
Yeah, fantastic stuff there, eh? I was a bit disappointed in that before we won that penalty, we're just throwing the ball around. And we've got to stay away from that. We've just got to go in collision and keep playing everything we practiced all week. Good for that pass there from Dane. I just think I'm not seeing much of Rowan with the ball, and I'd like to see Rowan Milnes with the ball a bit more, actually. Build his confidence up, but also I just think he's got a lot to offer us, so I'd like to see him a bit involved in the game. But yeah, great to get the score back just after Scholars have got one on the board.
Dave Chisholm will attempt the conversion attempt, 15 metres to the right-hand side of the uprights, 15 in from the far-stand side here at Odsall. And he will strike the ball with the right boot, and that one has hit the right-hand upright and just crept in over the red, amber and black dot. So, Bradford Bulls, 24 points to 4 here at Odsall Stadium. We're in the 37th minute at Odsall, and it has been 5 tries to 1 for the Bulls. Pickersgill, a brace from Ethan Ryan, Dalton Grant, and now Ross Peltier getting in on the scoring action. And I must mention, when Dalton Grant scored the easiest try of his career after a mix-up between the Scholars winger and fullback, that was Bradford's 100th try of season 2018. And that try there from Peltier takes the Bulls up to 1-0-1. Minchella to Halafihi. Halafihi into space and up and over halfway, turned in the tackle. Bradford, they're hunting potentially more points. We're in the 38th minute, 2 minutes to go to half-time here at Odsall. Mikey Wood on a short ball, wrapped up 30 metres out, just to the left of centre field. It's going to go Halafihi to Chisholm, Chisholm to Milnes, Rowan Milnes scampering away, and he's going to be brought down on the last tackle just outside the 10. So, final play of this set for the Bulls. Halafihi to Hallis, Hallis to Chisholm, Chisholm looking for Ethan Ryan. Ethan Ryan has missed it. The touch judge puts his flag up, it's gone into touch, and it will be a play the ball for the Scholars. 10 metres out from their own try line, although he's going to say the scrum, and it will be a scrum, so that'll run down the clock with about a minute remaining. And June Bentley says, come on you Bulls, you can do it. And Brian Clarkson says, I think it's going to be easy for the Bulls in the second half. We've got Tom Wanklin watching, and so too Rick McEwen. Elsewhere, the lady scores on the doors. Caroline Dragons 30, Whitehaven 10. It's Castleford 0, St Helens 18, and it is still tight between Coventry and the York City Knights. Coventry 12, York City Knights 18. And in the Betfred Championship at Spotland Stadium, it is Rochdale 4, Batley Bulldogs 12. So, final minute of action here at Odsal Stadium. The Scholars, via Davis, to Nakwati. And Nakwati's going to be brought down 25 shy of the halfway line on his own 25. I think Jermaine Coleman will be relatively pleased with his side's first half efforts. Perhaps if he's going to be bone picking, looking at a couple of errors and a couple of forward passes deep inside the Bradford half. So Lamont Bryan has given away a penalty for not playing the ball correctly and grabbing the Bradford marker's leg. So you very rarely see that happen in rugby league, but that's a 5th penalty of the afternoon to the Bradford Bulls. We've got 30 seconds remaining. They're not going to go for 2. John Keir is saying 4, potentially 6. Can the Bulls close out a fantastic first half? Halafihi out of dummy half, brought down 5 away from the Scholars line. Hallis to Chisholm, Chisholm to Smith, Lee Smith looking for his 2nd try of the season, and he will get it. And that is a cruel, cruel blow for the Scholars. Time is up here at Odsal in the first half. They've conceded a 6th try, and it is now the Bradford Bulls 28, London Scholars 4, John.
Yeah, if I'm honest, I don't think it was a penalty in the middle that they gave against London. I don't know what happened with Lamont. Something went on. I think he just pushed Sam away, actually. But you know what? I think they'll be gutted. I think they were still in it. I think this is just going to probably close the door on the second half from, if I'm honest. They could have done that. Hooter's gone. We've got another kick to come, and I think that will wrap the game up for Bradford. But it'll be interesting now to see what Bradford do in the second half. This isn't about who's scoring, it's about how we're scoring for me. I know that might sound boring to some listeners, but that's what's really important. Interesting, if Coventry keep digging at York, you don't know what's going to happen down there, and to me that'll be more of an interesting second half, I think.
Well, John Keir's decision not to go for 2 and to run it with 30 seconds remaining at the end of the first half, and his decision has been rewarded. Dane Chisholm then, 10 metres in from this main stand side. It's horrible. Stevie Wonder could have done better. Half time at Odsal. Bradford Bulls 28, London Scholars 4. John Keys, your thoughts on the first half, please?
Yeah, good first half. I do think Scholars are having a real bash, Nick, if I'm honest. And I think they'll come out bashing a bit more second half. Go to that last game at the Emirates. We've got to get younger people interested in our sport. I think we'd all agree. If you look at the crowds, the average age of the crowd seems to be going up instead of coming down. So we need to get more people, and the cost of going to the games needs to be looked at. Challenge Cup, £5 a ticket no matter where you are, and fill the grounds.
Well, let us know in the comments what you think should happen to the Challenge Cup. My own personal thought, as Dane Chisholm has got the second half back underway, is that the Challenge Cup needs to be moved right back to February. Forget about having the Super League club seeded. Have it how it used to be, an open draw from the 3rd round, everybody involved, Super League, League One, amateur if they've made it that far. And back in February, when it used to be, when I remember the Bradford Bulls going to Wembley in 96 and 97, you know, you had your pre-season fixtures, maybe 1 or 2 at the back end of February, and then you were straight into the Challenge Cup, and that was before the season started. So you had that appetite, and you had the supporters who were prepared to pay to watch the Challenge Cup action because they'd gone the whole winter without watching it. Having the Challenge Cup start later has had a detrimental effect to attendances, and the way it's going, it's never gonna recover. So, Bulls Live Proper Sport back here at Odsal Stadium. Dalton Grant has the ball for the Bulls, 5 metres inside the London half. Halafihi out of dummy half, down the middle. Here goes Vila, and Vila's wrapped up just outside the 20. Mills in at dummy half, a spiral ball along the line to Chisholm, Chisholm to Minchella. Minchella looking to get on the score sheet. He'll be feeling left out this afternoon. Was Elliot Minchella, a dangerous tip there, and he's gone above the horizontal, and that will be a 6th penalty to the Bradford Bulls, and an early penalty at the start of the second half. The players come together. We've got a little bit of shenanigans, a bit of pushing and shoving, and the referee and the touch judges have to sort this out. Josh Jackson says, go on Vila, and Jane Stone says, told you, Andrea, Pickersgill is good and he's a great player and he's certainly going to have a great future ahead of him. So while the officials sort this nonsense out, I'll just, once again, Glenn Thomas watching, so to Tom Parks, Max, Carl also watching. Carl says he felt left out. I didn't give him a shout out early on. And the referee is going to the back pocket here. And London will be down to 12 men. He's gone in the sin bin for that dangerous tip. So I think the officials have to be applauded there for taking drastic action. Unlike Scott Miskalauskas on Thursday night when Jamie Shaw was taken out early.
Yeah, for me though, what I don't like is there's no need for 20 blokes to run in. If someone's going to hurt someone, they're going to do it anyway. I'm not sure, I think, is it Rob Butler leaving the field there for London? Well, I've known Rob since he was 12, and he ain't that sort of bloke, it just happens. But I don't like the players running in, there's no need for that to happen. Just going back to the cup thing, Mick. Hold on.
Ross Peltier has gone close to scoring. He looks towards the referee. Referee Steve Race says he's lost the ball over the line, and that now will mean it's a scrum head and feet to London. So the pressure is off. It was indeed number 16, Rob Butler, who has been sent to the sin bin for a dangerous tip on Elliot Minchella. And Vila Halafi, he's down in back play now, and he's got a little bit of cramp to the left knee. And Lenny Smith watching, so to Lee Smith, Alan Aviard, Joy Wiggleston, Andy Hall, and Nicky Wood. It is Bulls Live and Proper Sport. And you were saying, John, sorry, about the Challenge Cup?
Yeah, just going back to that, I mean, whilst we use it as comparisons a lot, Rugby Union can fill Wembley Stadium for a regular Premiership rugby game. So there's something seriously wrong there with the marketing of what we're doing. If they can do that, because they don't get 50,000 or 60,000 people every week. So the marketing, I know from down in London that kids from other clubs go to those games for £5, but we really do need to look at what we're doing. We've got a great product, we've got to be able to market it.
Well, a scrum yet to take place. Referee not happy. There's a bit of pushing and shoving, and rather than on the 10-metre line where it should be, that was actually on the London 8. So the Bradford forwards pushing. The ball's come loose in the tackle. Vinnie Finnegan has had it stolen. 3-on-1 is the call. So we had a very low penalty count, and all of a sudden we've had 4 quick penalties. So 7-2 the penalty count. Still in favour of the Bulls, but that's going to advance the London Scholars just shy of the halfway line. And Christine Waterworth says handbags are for shopping, no place on the playing field. Exactly. So Christine's got quite a few giggles on the comment section. But it is Bulls Live and Proper Sport. Saturday Arvo Rugby League football from the Betfred League One. Bradford 28 points to 4 to the good as Rowan Milnes and Ashley Gibson come in, and they will bring down Ryan Bruffs on tackle number 3. Out of dummy half from Foreman. Foreman's lost the ball, and in an offside position is Lamont Bryan, and it will be a penalty to the Bradford Bulls, and they now lead the penalty count 8 penalties to 2. And Steve Race giving the whistle a bit of work early in this second half. Milnes will advance the Bulls forward by 20 metres. So Bulls Live and Proper Sport, we are going to see the Bulls a full set of 6, 30 metres away from the London Scholars. Elsewhere half-time, Coventry Bears 18, York City Knights 24, so just 6 points separating the Bears and the Knights down in the Midlands. And elsewhere in the Challenge Cup, Catalan Dragons 42, Whitehaven 10. And it is Castleford 12, St Helens 28. That one near its conclusion. So Dalton Grant out of dummy half to Rowan Milnes. Rowan Milnes! Oh, the zip and the zag brought down there by Lamont Bryan. He'll feel that one in the morning. Dane Chisholm to Pickersgill. Pickersgill's had the ball stolen. Referee's going to say knock on. Will he give this one to the Bulls, or will he say Pickersgill's come up with an error? He'll give head and feed to the Scholars, and that's Bradford's 4th error of the afternoon, and that will bring up the 100th error for the season. And John, I think that's one area where we've said that John Keir has had a sort of authoritative stamp on the playing aspect of the Bulls, and that has got to be in the cleanliness and the tidiness of the rugby league. Last season we were calling games where there was nearly 30 errors. They're averaging just under 10 at the minute.
Yeah, very much so, and you can see that in the way we play. Just at the start of this second half though, I just think we're starting to overplay a bit already, and we haven't got to do that. This London team are going to tire. What we need to do is stick to what we're good at, and eventually the room will come for us.
London Scholars with Amaricaro on the far stand side. Amaricaro appealing for a penalty, saying he was held back, with the ball's gone into touch on the far stand side, and Brandon Pickersgill happy to let that one go, and it will be a scrum head and feed to the Bradford Bulls, 5 metres shy of the halfway line. So an interchange for the London Scholars. Elliot Umbraga is going to come on the field.
Eddie.
Apologies, Eddie Umbraga, and Eddie Umbraga will slot in into that Scholars defensive line. So Bulls Live, proper sport here at Odsal Stadium. 28 points to 4 as Gibson gives the ball there to Pickersgill. Pickersgill wrapped up 5 shy of the halfway line in a 2-man tackle. Halafihi to Laithwaite. Laithwaite still going forward. He wasn't tackled, and he's offloaded the ball to Jack in a box Hallis, and Hallis goes down the hay diddle diddle, and he's wrapped up 30 away from the London line in centre field, appealing for a penalty, non-forthcoming. Halafihi is wrapped up 22 metres out as Lamont Bryan and Eddie Umbraga in a 2-man tackle make their presence known. Chisholm's kick has come off Amaricaro. It is back to 0 on the count. Ethan Ryan has it on the 0 tackle on the far stand side, and Bradford now purring. They're 10 metres away from the London Scholars line as Ross Peltier sucks in the defence, back to Chisholm. They move it laterally towards its main stand side with Hallis, and Hallis wrapped up, and he'll calm things down. 10 away in front of the posts. Quick play the ball, they're going on the short side. Laithwaite, Pickersgill to Grant. Grant twisting and turning, back in centre field to Milnes. Milnes to Mikey Ward, scored that fantastic try at Doncaster, remember. He'll get up 5 metres out, he'll play the ball, Milnes to Chisholm. Chisholm back to Rowan Milnes. Will Rowan Milnes show some magic on debut? Gives it to Gibson. Ashley Gibson will shrug off Matt Fleming, and he'll touch down and around. It's the 7th try of the afternoon for the Bradford Bulls here at Odsal Stadium. It's 32 points to 4, John.
Yeah, I just thought we were starting to get a bit scrappy there, you know, in the build-up to that try. And actually Rowan did have a hand in it. He held the ball out in one hand, puts pass in, ends up with Gibbo, and he runs it round and scores another try. But
Ashley Gibson!
I can just see the murmurings of us starting to get a bit too excited, and I don't think we need to do that at all. So hopefully now this next set, depending on what happens with the kick, we're going to get the ball back and see how we come out of our own end.
Matt Murdoch-Gilbert says that was a world-class try. Daniel Harrison says get in there. And Adam Gilmartin says, go on, Ashley Gibson. And I think, John, if we're going to try and say it in layman's terms, it was almost like the cat with the prey, just playing with it, watching it move and then flicking it on a bit more. The Bulls eventually unlocking the Scholars' defence on the 4th tackle after that repeat set, after Amaricaro had charged down the kick from Dane Chisholm. And it is 32 points to 4. Dane Chisholm looking to add on an extra 2. That will take the Bulls out to a lead of 30. Strikes the post with the right boot. And once again, he is away and wide. So, 32 points to 4. The score will remain here at Odsal in the 50th minute. 30 minutes remain. There's still a chance the Bulls could run up a big score. But as we said in the first half, this London Scholars side certainly made of a lot of resilience and a lot of sternness to their defensive line. They will make the Bulls work hard for every point this afternoon, and Ashley Gibson becomes the 7th try scorer for the Bulls, and he is up now to 5 tries for the season. So Chisholm just 2 from 6 attempts this afternoon. On the restart, Peltier to Pickersgill. Pickersgill caught across the face, but referee Steve Race will say shoulder first. Milnes to Wood. Wood's wrapped up on the Bradford 10. And we've got 29 minutes remaining on Bulls Live and Proper Sport at Odsall. Peltier fires out of that defensive line. And here goes Mikey Wood. Wrapped up 20 shy of halfway on tackle number 4. What will Bradford do now? It's going to go to Halafie, to Milnes, to Laithwaite. Laithwaite's going to be wrapped up, and hungry defence there from Jermaine Coleman's Scholars side. They've restricted the Bulls to just 35 metres on the last tackle. Rowan Milnes, a lot of hang time in that one. That's taken by Bruffs, the sole try scorer for the Scholars thus far. And he is going to be brought down 5 metres shy of the halfway line. In at dummy half is going to be Foreman. Foreman is going to give it there to Driver, and Billy Driver will just take the Scholars a couple of metres inside the Bulls half. And the second row forward, Quinn Nakati getting stuck in as the most recent try scorer for the Bulls. Gibson and Laithwaite bring him down on the Bradford 40. London, though, keep the ball alive in centre field. And Matty Davis, on loan from the Broncos, is going to be wrapped up on tackle number 4. Here goes Foreman out of dummy half to Brian, the Jamaican international, looking for support, can't find it, and he's wrapped up on the last tackle, 20 metres out in front of the post. So the kick out of dummy half from Davis, a little bit too much on that one. Pickersgill and Grant will watch that run roll dead over the dead ball line. And with 27 minutes remaining here at Odsall Stadium, Bradford just 1 try in the second half, but they lead on Bulls Live and Proper Sport by 32 points to 4. So 0 tackle, 7 tackle set. Ethan Ryan on tackle number 1, up to the 30. Halafie to Laithwaite. Laithwaite on tackle number 2, 10 shy of the halfway line. Mikey Wood will leave the field. On will come Callum Bustin. And Callum Bustin immediately will get himself in that centre position, and he'll look to call for the ball. Halafie, though, goes towards Chisholm to Minchella. Minchella out wide to Smith. Smith back to Ethan Ryan. Here goes Ethan Ryan. Ethan Ryan will bring the house down. It's a hat-trick on his 22nd birthday. And Ethan Ryan is putting the Scholars to ribbons. 36 points to 4, 8 tries.
Yeah, fantastic try there from Ethan. I thought he was going to pass the ball inside, actually. A little show and go and ended up under the sticks. I'm just about to put my mortgage on the fact that Dave's going to kick this goal.
Sponsored by the Goodwin family. Give it up for number 2, Ethan Ryan.
Ethan Ryan, well, I'll tell you, somebody will be enjoying the stream a little bit later on, and that'll be Ethan Ryan's dad, Matty. Is currently out of the country, and he did try to change his flights. And this is great to see the Bull supporters singing happy birthday on the terraces below us to Ethan Ryan as Dane Chisholm. Will he have the extra 2? He finally will. 3 from 8 attempts, and it is 38 points to 4 here at Odsall in the 54th minute. So, Gibson, a hat-trick to Ryan, Peltier, Smith, Grant and Pickersgill, the try scorers this afternoon for the Bulls. So Bulls Live, Proper Sport.
Exchange for the London Scholars, leaving the field number 10, Lamont Bryan.
And it is the Bradford Bulls, 38. London Scholars 4. Lady scores on the doors elsewhere. It is Rochdale 4. Batley Bulldogs 24 at Spotland. It is Coventry Bears 18. York City Knights 30. And in the Challenge Cup, League One Whitehaven, they've done themselves proud despite a heavy defeat. It's 46 points to 10 to the Catalan Dragons of Steve McNamara's side, but at one point in that first half, They only trailed by 12 points to 10. So what a fantastic performance from Whitehaven. And as John and myself have both said, Whitehaven will be in the mix come the end of the season in those top 5 playoffs. And currently Castleford 12, St Helens 36. Castleford, a lot of internal problems to sort out in 2018. So Elliot Minchella along the line will find Hallis. Hallis quick play the ball. Here goes Halafihi on the restart. The Bulls, they're 20 metres inside the London half as Bustin's offload is taken by Peltier, but Ross Peltier has run behind James Laithwaite, who body checks the London Scholars defender, and that will give the London Scholars their 3rd penalty of the afternoon. And we have 25 minutes remaining. Sean Dixon says some Ethan Ryan magic, and John Keys, what a player Ethan Ryan we say he's going to turn out to be. He's already established himself at championship level and finding life easy in League One.
Yeah, absolutely, but I think for Heath had a slow start to the season, didn't he? Wasn't getting a lot of ball. For me, really started coming into his best at Doncaster and has now really starting to find some form. And 3 tries on his birthday is good, but for me, one of the up-and-coming stars of the game.
First competitive meeting between these two sides, and London not waving the white flag. They find themselves with a tackle remaining in this set of 6, 10 metres out from the Bradford line. Davison at dummy half to Foreman. Foreman to Umbraga, and Umbraga is going to be brought down 2 metres shy of that Bradford Bulls defensive line, and it's going to go Davis to Foreman. Foreman offloads the ball back to Bruffs, and Bruffs is going to go past Elliot Minchella. He's going to offload it there to Phil Leon. Leon towards the line, twisting and turning, and he's wrapped up on the last tackle. So this is it, the power play for the Scholars. The kick comes through, and Bradford have come up with an error on their own try line. Elliot Minchella adjusts to have knocked the ball on, so the pressure will continue. Bulls live, proper sport. 24 minutes remaining here at Odsall. Bradford Bulls 38, London Scholars 4.
Yeah, end of a good set there from London. Matty Davis picking the ball up at dummy half, kicking through, and they've managed to force an error. Whilst the game might be over score-wise, London haven't given up yet, have they? And they continue to go, which is great from Jermaine's point of view, and will be good in other games going forward. I just think Bradford have got a bit too much of them in the go for. Good field position from now, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do.
The Scholars, John, they're in the same borough as Tottenham Hotspur. Is there any good links between Tottenham Hotspur and London Scholars?
There were some of it a while ago, but Tottenham Foundation as such do a lot of different sort of work, similar to the work I do at Arsenal. So, but again, this is where you're looking for people, when you're looking for new talent. There are lots and lots of big athletes live down there, and I just think with a bit more investment in some proper community programmes from the RFL as opposed to just the clubs, I think we might find some more players.
London Scholars trailing 38 points to 4 here at Odsall. 23 minutes remaining, and they're looking for a second try of the afternoon. And that loose ball is picked up by Rob Butler, who is back and fresh out of the sin bin. London Scholars were down to 12 men when Ethan Ryan scored. Here goes the big man, Eddie Umbraga, and Eddie Umbraga is brought down by Bustin on tackle number 4, out of dummy half from Matty Davis, twisting and turning, gives it back to Umbraga. Umbraga over the line, he's got the ball down. The London Scholars have a second try. Steve Race in a great position, he points the finger, and Bradford have conceded 2 tries here at Odsall. 38 points to 8. Credit to Eddie Umbraga. He's come on the interchange bench, John. He's made a huge impact down the middle. A big lad.
Well, here's a boring story for you. When I first started working for the Broncos, Eddie was on my pickup route from East London or North London all the way down to West London where the club trained. Eddie, another lad called Dennis 24, I think it was at Hull for a while, who used to play for Scholars. And you know what, these lads, you say, just drop me off here and it's fine and I'll work my own way home from here. Great to see him still playing. That's 15 years ago. And he's still playing now, so it's great. And also, I just said it in commentary, while the game might be gone, they haven't given up yet, so Bradford need to try and close this game out properly now and get back to doing what we were doing, I think.
Dan Magrin says, yes, the Scholars boys, and John Lawler says, Eddie Umbraga is a big player. Darren Carter says, not the best goal line defence from the Bulls there. So, 38 points to 10 here at Odsal on a mild, humid afternoon. And the Bulls, they'll look to close this one down with 22 minutes remaining. But credit to the Scholars for not waving that white flag, and as we've said, a lot of effort and a lot of heart. Foreman converting his first of the afternoon. And on the restart, 10 shy of the halfway line, the Scholars, as Steve Crossley, who's just come back on from the interchange bench. The ball moves towards Amari Caro on that right-hand edge. Amari Caro, incidentally, is going to enjoy the post-match barbecue that has kindly been put on by Andrew Chalmers and the club sponsors after the conclusion of today's game. And as John said, you know, a lot of Bull supporters, they'll give Amari Caro a high five, a pat on the back, and it'll be a real family festive afternoon. So, Scholars, Foreman on the last. Kick goes down the front of Dalton Grant, and Dalton Grant will try and hair away on this main stand side. Wrapped up on tackle number 1, 10 shy of the halfway line. Pickers go in at dummy half to Gibson. And Ashley Gibson will be brought down in centre field. 52 metres away from the Scholars line. Alafehi to Crossley. And Steve Crossley makes 10 metres there on the third tackle. So Bradford 40 away from the line as it goes from Chisholm to Minchella. Minchella out to Pickersgill. Pickersgill wrapped up on that eastern edge. 5 metres in from the far stand side. Ethan Ryan back to Matt Garside. He scored a hat-trick last week. And Matt Garside, fresh from the interchange bench, wrapped up 12 away from the line on the last tackle. It's going to go to Rowan Milnes. Crossfield kick, looking for Dalton Grant. He finds Dalton Grant, and Dalton Grant has got his second of the afternoon, his 10th for the season. And Rowan Milnes, on debut, 18 years of age, comes up with another try assist. It's 42 points to 10 at Odsal. It's raining tries.
A great kick there from Rowan, and also great to see the ball shifted to the right hand side. We've attacked a lot down our left hand side today, and we've just proved that we can do it down both flanks. Well taken by Dalton, and an easy put down at the end for him.
And John, as we've said numerous times, he had a very difficult year last year, did Dalton Grant. Didn't play any games for the London Broncos, but he's, you know, John Keir, faith renewed, faith rewarded.
Yeah, absolutely. I did quite a lot of work with Dalton while he wasn't playing, and again when he came back from the World Cup, and I think he's proven a valuable asset for Bradford this year, not just with his try scoring, but in exit sets, coming out of defence and getting stuck in. He plays a bit more like a back rower for me when he's carrying the ball, but great again. And to be honest, you're right, John put his faith in him, but let's face it, John seems to be good at getting people to do things that they don't think they can do, so full credit to John on that score.
Dane Chisholm, 20 from 21 attempts last week. Not so good this afternoon, but he'll attempt this conversion attempt, and it's looking good. Like an arrow, splitting the apple. That one splits the posts, and it is 44 points to 10. Amy Hardcastle's just joined us. Don't forget, tomorrow afternoon here at Odsal Stadium, the Women's Super League is back. Bradford hosting York, and Mark Prescott's side will be looking for the first win of the season. Here though, on Bulls Live and Proper Sport, it is the Bradford Bulls 44, London Scholars 10. And just as the Bulls start to climb and pull out of the distance away from the Scholars, so too do the York City Knights, because it's now Coventry 18, York 40 there at Butts Arena, and still playing in the south of France. Catalan Dragons 56, Whitehaven 10. Here at Odsal Stadium, we've just gone past the hour mark. We've got 18 and a half minutes remaining, and at 44 points to 10, Bradford have just come up with error number 6. of the afternoon. And immediately Lamont Bryan will play the ball, and it's going to be Davis out of dummy half to Chester. Ryan Chester wrapped up in a two-man tackle. Here goes Billy Driver now. Driver to Foreman. Foreman along the line to Naquati. Naquati's going to be wrapped up by Gibson. And Minchella and Milnes. So 3 Bradford defenders there, bringing down the second row forward as they move the ball laterally on that right-hand edge. And Lamont Bryan goes past Lee Smith. And Dane Chisholm. Lee Smith races back into that defensive line. Here's the big guy. It's Umbraga. And Eddie Umbraga is brought down on his backside, a metre shy of the line. Last tackle is on his back. He's going to have to roll over and play the ball forward, which he does. Driver. So Lamont Bryan, and Lamont Bryan on the power play is held up 2 metres out from the Bulls line. So with 15 minutes remaining here at Odsall Stadium, Bulls Live, proper sport. There's a bit of pushing and shoving there between Amari Caro and Sam Hallis, and the touch judge has come on, so the referee will have to short that one out. And I don't know, John. There's been no ugly undertone to this match. I think it's just silly boys.
Looks like it. Somebody needs to go on and pick up their lipsticks because they probably dropped them there while they're throwing their bags around. But poor as well, you know. For me, that was a poor set for the end of London there. I think they should have put a kick in. All right, they've turned the ball over there, but we know that the Bulls have got some strong ball carriers. I think the referee's just sorting this out with a little telling off for them, and then we'll crack on with the rugby.
Yeah, referee's just spoken to Sam Hallis, Amari Caro, and also Lamont Bryan. And I think he's just going to say 15 minutes remaining here at Odsall. So Bulls Live, proper sport. Bradford attacking from deep. Hallis has been rolled over above the horizontal, and the referee has got involved again as Stephen Ray. So it's just getting a little bit ugly here. Dalton Grant talking to the touch judge on this main stand side, doing the tipping action, and the touch judge coming on the field, and I think it's going to be a penalty to the Bradford Bulls. And as we said, Sam Hallis lifted above the horizontal, and the referee, Steve Race, will speak to the touch judge. And here he comes, the touch judge with the red flag from this main stand side. So here, what he's seen, and he's just trying to separate the two players. We've already seen Rob Butler sent for 10 minutes in the sin bin for a dangerous tip. So the referee is going to speak to Lee Smith, the Bradford skipper, and is going to call the Scholars skipper, Neil Foreman. And I think he's just going to try and calm things down here, and it should be a penalty to the Bulls.
Yeah, I don't know how a touch judge who's 70 metres away can see what's going on. So to me, that was a bit of a wasted effort, really. It's obviously now, it's still just to play the ball. And to be honest, no need for any cards, is there? It hasn't been that sort of game either, but we don't need somebody running 70 yards to tell us what we can already see.
Well, the referee can sense it's getting tasty out there with about 13 minutes remaining as Eddie Umbraga is getting stuck in with Steve Crossley. And the referee well on top of the ruck as Rowan Milnes finds Elliot Minchella on this main stand side, and Elliot Minchella's going to be wrapped up in a free-man tackle. Holding down in the tackle, penalty to the Bradford Bulls, and that was Matt Fleming all over the top of Elliot Minchella there. Penalty count is now 9-3, and young Rowan Milnes on debut will advance the Bulls 5 metres inside the London Scholars half. Current score, Coventry 18, the York City Knights 46. So if both scores remain the same, the Bulls will remain top of the table. And the referee slowly losing control of this one. It's a 10th penalty of the afternoon to the Bradford Bulls, and he's going to stop the clock here. Players running in from all angles. And once again, John, We've seen a sign at Odsall on the team warning, and the referee saying the next one is going to be in the bin. Steve Haywood says, come on you Bulls, Barbara Batten. Can the referee get control? And Ian McNeil says 9-3 penalty count. Well, it's now 10-3. And Bradford will hunt a 10th try of the afternoon. Pickersgill's gone without the ball. That will calm some of the pressure and it'll ease the pot off the heat. And it will be scrum, head and feed to London Scholars. So, Bulls Live proper sport, 13 minutes exactly remaining, 67 gone here at Odsall, and it remains 44 points to 10. Incidentally, full time in the early Challenge Cup kickoffs, Castleford Tigers 18, St Helens 36, so St Helens and Ben Barber through to the quarter-finals, and joining them in the quarter-final draw will be the Catalan Dragons, who have defeated Whitehaven by 56 points to 10. So the Scholars not going above the advantage line there after it touched the Bradford arm. So the referee, Steve Race, will pack down the scrum once more, and it will be scrum, head and feet to the London Scholars, with Bradford leading 44 points to 10.
Just go back a couple of weeks to our game at Warrington in the Cup, and I spoke to Vila afterwards and he said that wasn't as physical as I thought it would be. Well, it isn't, it's just quicker. This is a physical league we're playing in, and for me the downside of the last 15 minutes is that we're getting sucked into something that we don't need to instead of just keep playing. Let them do what they're doing. If we do what we did in the first half, we're going to score another 10 or 16 points here before the end.
Interchange for London Scholars leaving the field.
So Bradford Bulls 44, London Scholars 10.
Jordan Williams.
So Eddie Umbaga goes past Crossley. He is a big unit for the Scholars, and he carries them just inside the Bradford half, appealing for a penalty, none forthcoming. Here goes Foreman, kicking for himself. Callum Bustin, no, quickest to react. And Callum Bustin, he really does go from strength for strength here at the Bulls, under the guidance and tutelage of John Keir. 11th penalty from Steve Race in favour of the Bulls. No yellow card because it was a sin bin offence. They are on the team warning. So another lopsided penalty count as Lee Smith has not tapped the ball in the correct position. So the crowd getting a little bit frustrated, but Lee Smith, a lot of experience, finally taps it, gives it to Garside. Garside back to Smith. Smith wrapped up there by Amari Caro, the Jamaican international. As we said, Amari Caro, 10 appearances for the Bulls under Jeff Tuvey last year with 6 tries. Here goes Halafihi, twisting and turning. He's surging towards the Scholars line. 44 points to 10. Flanagan to Milnes. Are we about to see some Milnes magic? Everyone's waiting for it. He's going to float the ball to Chisholm. Chisholm with the dancing feet. Back to Pickersgill. Pickersgill monstered there by Jordan Williams. Wraps him up, ball and all. Flanagan out of dummy half to Halafihi. Halafihi brought down on tackle number 4. 2 metres away from the line. Flanagan over from dummy half. Can he get the ball down? Held up. The Bulls will go back to the 10. It's Bulls Live, proper sport at Odsall Stadium. Saturday afternoon rugby league. The Bulls on the last tackle. 10 metres away from the Scholars line. Chisholm, crossfield kick for Ethan Ryan. Ethan Ryan has tried number 4. What a birthday for young Ethan Ryan. 4 tries this afternoon. He's got 12 for the season. 48 points to 10 at Odsall. Take a bow. Ethan Ryan, the man whose nickname Superman, has got 4.
Yeah, great finish again, another chip and kick. London just can't seem to deal with that stuff coming out this afternoon. Real pleased for Ethan, as I said, coming in some real good form, and we're going to need it in the next 2 months as we march on through this process.
Rochdale 10, Batley 36, and it is Coventry Bears 18, York City Knights 52. So the Bulls and the Knights posting big scores, and the Bulls up to press. They will remain top of the table as we head into round 10 next Friday. And what a fixture we've got for you. The Magic Night Out at Kingston Park, Newcastle Thunder against the Bradford Bulls. Newcastle, they've announced just shy of 3,000 tickets already sold, and that's without counting the travelling contingent from the Bradford Bulls. It promises to be a magic night out indeed. Chisholm at post away from taking the Bulls out to 50, and it remains Bradford Bulls 48, London Scholars 10 here at Odsall on Bulls Live and Proper Sport. And Stacey Haywood says, getting the birthday boy, Rose Fowler. Great tries from Ethan Ryan, and Alan Stead says, 2 dangerous tackles against the Bulls, no action from the ref. Well, I guess he did, Alan. He gave him a couple of penalties, but I understand where you're coming from about player protection. So, Neil Foreman puts the ball back on the halfway line. They'll go for a short kick-off with 8 minutes remaining. The bounce of the ball will go into touch, so they'll get the scrum here, the Scholars. And can the Scholars do what only the York City Knights have done all season, which is to score 3 tries against the Bradford Bulls in League One? So they've got a chance here, John.
Yeah, they have. Funny kick-off there. Hold on a minute now. No, not if you bounce it in. It's just right. Bounce into touch. But, yeah, interesting. I still think Scholars are having a dig. And again, I think we've faded away a bit, you know. I don't know what John's going to say after, but probably a 65-minute performance this week.
Nothing wrong with the decision. The ball went 10, bounced in the field of play. The touch judge just telling the referee, not sure what was going on there, but it's resulted in the Scholars via Lamont Bryan. Quick hands to Bross on that left edge. Driver in at dummy half, the 5 metres away from the line, and Driver tries to show and go under the post, but wrapped up and extinguished there by Minchella and Bustine. 6 minutes remain here at Odsall Stadium. They're going to float it out wide. Here he goes, Eddie Umbraga, and Eddie Umbraga, the talisman for the Scholars, wrapped up 5 metres out on that last tackle. Foreman, grubber kick behind the line, and there's a try here for the Scholars. They're going to have a 3rd try of the afternoon, and it's now 48 points to 14. And York and Coventry still playing. We'll have to check the points for and against, John, but I think that never say die attitude there from the London Scholars is going to see him rewarded. A 3rd try, and it's Phil Lyon.
Yeah, and this is my thing when I keep saying about people worry about putting on big scores. What we've got to do is stop them scoring and making sure we get the competition points. That's not acceptable for me watching this game. That shouldn't have even happened, that try. We've switched off again, a little kick. If you remember, Eddie's previous try came from a kick from dummy half. Done the same again and nicked another score. That could put us under real pressure in weeks to come. We need to get our heads back on and focus now for the last 7 or 8 minutes.
Second half, a lot tighter. It's Chris. Neil Foreman slots that one between the posts. So, 48 points to 16 here at Odsall Stadium.
Successful conversion for the London Scholars by number 7, Neil Foreman.
And Neil Foreman, the younger brother of Chris.
And better looking, Mick, don't forget to say that, the better looking brother.
I'm sure if Chris Foreman's, if Chris Foreman, the Huddersfield Giants assistant coach is watching, he'll enjoy that one. As the Scholars have come up with an error on the restart, and it will be scrum head and feet to the Bradford Bulls, and the Bulls rush towards the scrum with 5 minutes remaining, and they know a try will put them out to 50 points. There's still 8 minutes remaining between Coventry and York, and it is still Coventry 18, York City Knights 52, and a chance here now for the Bradford Bulls to get potentially try number 10 of the afternoon. Rowan Milnes with ball in hand. It's going to go to Flanagan. Flanagan to Chisholm, to Garside. Garside straightens up, sucks in the defence, offloads the ball back to Flanagan. And George Flanagan on that right-hand edge is wrapped down 10 metres out, exactly where the scrum was formed and took place. Halafihi out of dummy half to Busting. And Callum Busting swarmed upon 5 metres out from the Scholars line. Flanagan to Milnes. And it's got to be said, this London Scholars defence still going right to the death. They're tackling the Bulls with their hearts. And Callum Busting underneath the sticks. And Callum Busting, a deserved try for all his efforts this afternoon. It's his third of the season. And it is now the Bradford Bulls 52, London Scholars 16 at Odsal Stadium. 4 minutes to go, John. The Bulls have hit 50.
Yeah, what did we do there? We had some proper. We run up the middle, didn't we? Knocked the Scholars about a bit, and despite their strong defence, Callum charged over. So yeah, we're going to go past 50, but I did predict 60, didn't I, pre-match, and I think we could have done that with a bit more. I just don't think we've played as well this half at all, if I'm honest. And Scholars' effort, I mean, for me, is outstanding. You know, they've done really well today. And also, as you say, first team to score 3 tries against us since York, which says a lot.
And I think when you factor in the second half performance, Dane Chisholm converts from in front. The second half is Bradford 22, London Scholars 12, John. So that will please Jermaine Coleman and certainly give London Scholars some momentum and certainly something to work on ahead of their next fixture, which is at home in the capital against Whitehaven next Saturday.
Yeah, very much so. And I think also being, quite open about it, look at the budgets that the clubs are working with. Whilst we're in the same league, I don't think we're in the same league financially, and I think Scholars have come and had a good dig today, to be honest. And yeah, it'll be an interesting game down there next week.
So Bulls Live proper sport here at Odsal Stadium. We've opened up the live man of the match award. If get your votes in. Ian McNeil says, "Come on, you Bulls." So too does Sean Dixon. Top try. And Richard Tempest Mitchell says, "A good manufactured try. Defence still needs to be secured, but all good from the Bulls." And Dean Holsworth, quick to point out, it would have been 60 with 10 out of 10 from Dane Chisholm. The Bulls leading by 10 tries to 3 as it goes to Chisholm on that left-hand edge. And Bradford, 3 tackles remaining. We'll give it down the middle with Steve Crossley, and Steve Crossley gets the legs motoring like the pistons of a car engine. Quick play the ball from Flanagan to Halafihi, and Halafihi will be wrapped up on the 5th and last tackle. So Flanagan to Chisholm. Chisholm, a lot of hang time once again. Ethan Ryan has been taken out off the ball there, Ethan Ryan, and that will be a 12th penalty of the afternoon to John Keir's side, and Ethan Ryan was taken out 5. There. That was cynical.
His 5th try there.
We've got 90 seconds remaining at Odsal. The Bulls are going to hunt an 11th try. Busting brought down 8 metres out. Elliot Minchella leaves the field to a round of applause. Rowan Milnes floats it out to Dalton Grant. Dalton Grant in the corner will get the hat-trick, but he's just been adjudged to have put an elbow dead in goal, and the try will be disallowed. So that will be all she wrote for the Bulls, because the Scholars will close out the game now with a 7-tackle set. So Dalton Grant denied a hat-trick, and the score remains on Bulls Live Proper Sport. Bradford Bulls 54, London Scholars 16. So a lot of people, as always, they'll look at the scoreboard and they'll think that the Bulls have had a big win, but that doesn't say half of what's happened here with the Scholars' efforts in defence.
Number 2, Ethan Ryan!
And with 10 seconds remaining, the Bulls are going to try and force the clock to be stopped.
Drop a goal.
The Hooders going to beat everyone. It will be full time here at Odsal Stadium. And it has finished. The Bradford Bulls 54, the London Scholars 16. Bradford, they will remain top of the table on points for and against.